Hey guys, welcome to another episode of CSA Talks with Abhi, and today I am joined by my boss, Lorraine.
Hello.
Lorraine, thank you for being here, and hopefully I'll know if I have a job at the end of today. Is that the deal?
We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes.
The
All right.
day's young.
I'll keep the questions easy. All right, tell us, Lorraine, who are you? What's your role in the CSA? What do you do?
Okay, so I'm Lorraine. I'm the General Manager of the Cranfield Students Association. I've been here for about 5 years now. It covers students from here, MKU and Shrivenham on our other base. And the trustees give me delegation and authority to ensure that the day-to-day running of the CSA is handled correctly and that their strategic vision is delivered in the way that they wish to.
That is a PR answer.
It really is. It really is.
But let's talk about how did you end up working at the student union, actually?
It's a bit of a funny one, actually. I used to work for Northampton Students' Union in a more commercial setting, and it was a friend who actually gave me this job application and said, "Oh, you know, I think this would be quite suited for you." Oh, nice. Looked at it and thought, "That is me, 100% that is me." So I applied for it, interviewed, and yeah, the rest is history. It's been successful, and I've been here ever since.
Amazing. Are we still friends?
We are still friends.
We're still friends. Okay.
He did me a solid, so
He
absolutely,
did you a solid.
yeah.
All right. Okay. You said a little bit about what your job is in that first question.
Yes.
But what is something that students would think, "Hey, I'm quite surprised that Lorraine's actually involved in that."
Okay.
Yeah. So what do you think that would be?
So I think a lot of my job happens behind the scenes as we're a registered independent charity.
Yeah.
There's a lot of governance work, legal compliance, and charitable law that we have to be adherent to. So I do spend a lot proportion of my time is making sure that we're operating in the correct way, in a legal way, and making sure we're abiding by all the governing bodies behind the scenes. A lot of people assume that the CSA is more of a bar or social side, but I think the amount of back office work that goes into making sure that we are compliant and that we abide by everything would surprise quite a lot of people, actually.
Okay, that's good. And that actually segues really well into the next question I was going to ask, which is really about the CSA in itself. You said, we're not just a place that's a bar, that's a cafe, but sometimes students think that. So what would you say to that? Like, what more does CSA offer? Okay,
so the CSA is, we like to see it as a home away from home.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I mean, it's a very unique place being in Cranfield, from the student demographic and the location. So we do stand out, and when looking at other student unions and what we actually do. We operate commercial activities. So we have the bar and the cafes, hugely popular. Yeah. But also, we have the clubs and societies, and we have over 84% of students that are actually involved with our clubs and societies, which is one of the highest in the UK. We have huge engagement. We are we're in a privileged position of actually being able to facilitate opportunities for students to meet their own tribe, meet other people and create memories and feel a part of something. What we offer is activities, representation, support, advice to support the academic journey, but also from looking after their mental and social well-being also. And it's a privilege to be in the role.
And it's a very important part, isn't it? It's not just the academics, it's the whole experience, and we are a part of that master's experience for students when they come into Cranfield. You said a bit about the cafe and the bar, and students obviously buy the pints and they buy stuff. So what happens with the money? What happens with the profits that we make, if we make profits, that is? But what happens with the profits?
Okay, so the CSA is a registered charity, and we're a non-for-profit organisation, which means that we're not looking to make huge amounts of money. But anything we do make goes directly back into the student union and the student experience. So when we say every penny that's spent here goes back into the student experience, that is true. We don't want to be making huge profits. We want anything that is coming in a little bit, you say, above, we then put directly back into, whether that be student events, creating a nicer area for people. It's to enhance the students' benefits ultimately.
To make their experience at CSA a bit better, be it being staying open longer or being the more kind of activities we offer. That's amazing. Now, you said CSA is a non-charity, so is CSA are we part of the university or are we separate? How does that relationship work between the CSA and the university?
Okay, so we have a symbiotic relationship. I kind of like to put it that way. So all universities need to have a students' union, and we couldn't survive without the university. we work very closely with them. While we are independent, we are a separate registered independent charity. We're currently, at the moment, unincorporated. We haven't made the leap to be incorporated as of yet. So we do work closely with them, but we are separate.
Yeah.
Everything that comes to us from student concerns or everything, the feedback that we gather is done so from an independent student's voice perspective, which is really, really important, as the engagements we have from students can be very different to what, say, the university has.
Yeah.
All feedback is really, really valuable,
Yeah.
but we're much more relaxed and there's no pressure from us. So therefore, we can actually gather the authentic student voice. As is put in our constitution, we are the recognised, channel of student voice between the students, the university and other organisations. And
that is good, and I'm really glad that we are quite relaxed, which helps a lot for my dress code. When I come to the CSA, just wear shorts for the summer, which is quite nice, isn't it? Now, I think you've said a lot there about what the CSA does. But what are some of those things that CSA does behind the scenes that students would probably never realise that CSA is actually doing, but we're actually a part of that?
Okay. I think a lot of students would be surprised that our presidents sit on council and senate, which is the highest governing bodies of the university. Likewise, we sit on a lot of panels regarding well-being, safeguarding. The input that the CSA can have through that independent representation and the voice is huge. We sit at, we have the privilege of sitting there with the presidents and occasionally myself for different forums. Of relaying what students are actually thinking and feeling and putting it across to the decision makers of what we can actually do and to make changes to be implemented to ultimately benefit students.
And that's quite clearly seen even during the King's merger, how we had a sense of we could share our opinions to the people who are making those decisions, and that's quite important, because how will they make decisions if they don't fully know what the students are feeling or what their voices are? So that's a good answer. So if I was a brand new student arriving at Cranfield tomorrow, what is the main thing I should know that the CSA can help me out with, or the CSA can assist me with?
I'm going to slightly change that answer, or think of it. We get a lot of students that arrive, obviously, can be the first time away from home, from thousands of miles away, and they regularly just walk into the CSA. And that's one thing I think we do exceptionally well, is that we offer not just your basic support, we offer just a friendly advice. Everything from where to get your hair done, your nails done for some of the, we are completely open to everything. So with new students, when they do arrive, we always encourage them to attend events such as Friends Networking, which you host, in Freshers and everything, which is hugely popular, and to get involved. The Students' Union is designed to be set up. Obviously, we put on events and we can host opportunities for students, but the more people put into it, the more they get out of it. By joining a club, society or group or wanting to be involved in something, it just opens the doors for them to new experiences and new friendships, and it really does enhance their time they spend at Cranfield.
And what you're saying is it can be seen, the kind of students that I am actually having on the podcast, where they do say how valuable it is to having clubs and society, and how they have to put in some sort of effort to get most out of that experience. And I think that's quite valuable advice to a brand new student. You spoke a bit about student representation. You said about the presidents sitting on the Senate, but what does that look like in practice in terms of the presidentship and the presidency at the CSA?
Okay, so we moved to having 3 presidents last year instead of just 1. So with each have a specific portfolio. So the presidents now are elected by the student body. We also have a vice president at MKU and at Shrivenham. Their primary roles are to be the elected representation students at these boards. So a lot of their work is engaging with students, getting the raw, unfiltered feedback. What's bothering them? As again, we have an engagement team. Again, you are part of. But the way that we will receive feedback can be slightly different from student to student, peer to peer.
100%.
So it's hugely impossible.
Possible.
Important.
Okay. I don't know.
It's hugely important that the feedback that they receive and the way that they engage with the students, so they can then take that up and create changes. But the presidency they are elected by the student body, and they're hugely important.
And can anybody kind of run for election? or is that like, are we looking for, is there anybody can run for election?
So elections for the Cranfield campus, the main ones, happen at the end of October, November time.
Yeah.
All we say is that you have to be here for 1 year.
Yeah, you have to be a student.
You have to be around here, yes, absolutely.
And Cranfield's quite different and quite unique in that way, in the sense that we are exclusively a postgrad university. We don't have that undergraduate students. And that kind of like changes the way the union is. Yeah. So how does that change the CSA and what it does? Like, or does it change?
I think the CSA is hugely unique and compared to a lot of other student unions that I've been aware of or that I've seen over the past 5 years or even before. People come to Cranfield for the qualification. They've come here to do work exceptionally hard in a very small time frame. So the time we actually have with them is a lot less than, say, 3 years typically undergrad.
Yeah.
So therefore, students have less time to dedicate to putting on events or activities. So we really have to work with them. We have to have inclusive ideas. We have to be able to make sure that all students are represented. Everybody from every single culture, country across the world has the opportunity to come forwards and propose events, activities, and engage with us in the way that they wish to be engaged with. Because for many, it's the first time when potentially they've been able to explore life outside their own country. And obviously different countries have different values and different views. So we are completely accepting of everyone and everything at the CSA, which is hugely important. And for many, we get to support students through that journey of actually finding themselves a lot, which is hugely influential and a privilege to do.
Well, I was going to ask a question. I think you've answered that. So I'm not going to ask that question. But I am going to ask you, if a student comes into the CSA and goes like, hey, the CSA should do that. That's something the CSA needs to be doing. What should they actually do with that idea? What do they do with that idea?
Depending what the idea is.
Okay.
Obviously, we've had some interesting ideas.
I'm sure you've heard your fair share.
Absolutely off camera, definitely not to be said on camera.
No.
But no, we actively encourage students to come forward with ideas. As ultimately we've got so many different students from different cultures, nationalities, and their interest groups are so different. We couldn't facilitate one event that's for everybody. It was quite difficult. So if a student has an idea, we encourage them to come forwards to speak to either yourself or Poppy or any member of the CSA team. And what we can do is we can actually pay them to host an event should they want to host it, whether that be quizzes or a cultural night or a showcase of something, or if it's a bigger kind of event, then they can work with us on a sideline because we appreciate time is precious for students, and we can put on an event or host something on their behalf, taking on board their feedback.
And I think that's quite interesting because last year we had the pub quiz, which was very popular, but it was actually run by students. It wasn't really run by us. We facilitated that. And that's quite interesting. So if you have an idea, come talk to me, come talk to Poppy. We're not going to squash that idea down. We're actually there to make it happen and make it possible, really.
I think that ultimately it is the students' union. So therefore we want that engagement. We want the students to be able to come to us and say, this is what we want. Can we do this? How about this? It is what they make it.
And that's why the students is bold in that canvas and the backdrop.
It is.
All right. So a quick question, actually. Students usually say this. They usually want CSA to maybe do more events. They want CSA to offer more services, open for longer. You know, if the kids could drink till like 5 a.m., they'd probably want to. Or students, they want to keep the prices low. How would you balance all of that when actually everything costs money? Even though we're a non-profit, but it all costs money. So how do you balance that as a general manager?
It can be tricky at times,
I bet.
Absolutely. So a large amount of our funding comes from the university in the form of a block grant. Unfortunately, we're not the biggest funded by far. We're more at the other end of the spectrum. So we dedicate a certain amount of money to just the student experience, such as being able to be open for, say, weekends or anything else. Unfortunately, when the funds can't cover that, and we're not making enough from a commercial side, then unfortunately we have to make the decisions to stay viable and not go into a deficit for profits. But we do try to keep prices down. We are the cheapest on campus by far, and the best tasting, may I add, especially on coffees. But we do try to keep things low, and we are constantly looking at ways of having, we're introducing a savers menu for the next intake of specific items, so you can have a hot meal for under £5 with a drink. We are constantly looking at ways to ensure that costs are down for the students, and we are putting on what they can do with limited resources.
And that is quite good. And the next question actually is more of a wish list. If we had double the budget, tomorrow, boom, double the budget, what would you prioritize first? What would you spend the money on for the first thing?
Okay, I wouldn't spend the money personally myself. I would put it out to all of the students.
Okay.
Because ultimately,
that's how you'd play it.
What they want, it's their union.
Yeah.
It's obviously there are certain repairs or bits and pieces that I'd want to be doing.
Yeah, this is part of upkeep. But
but ultimately, what do they want from their union? And again, this is a great reason why we encourage students to engage with us. Otherwise, you'll have me or somebody else or the trustee board trying to come up with something of what we perceive students would want. Whereas if they tell us that we want to be open at weekends, even if it's, just, we don't want to come in drinking because we see you on a Friday night, but we want to be able to use the games room, we want to be able to watch a football on in the afternoon. Absolutely, would be open.
Yeah, and that's quite good because that's exactly what the Music Society have done in saying that, hey, we want to be able to access the music room at all times, and we found a way to make that possible. At the same time, keep making sure that everyone is safe and there's key card access for everybody. I think that's a good example of how we can actually make things possible when students reach out to us. The next question is actually quite interesting. It is what you'd love see, and it's very forward thinking. What would you love CSA to be doing in the next 3 to 5 years that we aren't really doing right now? Obviously, it is a long time to think of. There's so many uncertain things. But what would you think is that?
I'd like, in 3 to 5 years' time, in an ideal world, I would like, obviously, funding to have been addressed so that we're able to kind of facilitate more things for the students. In my head, I'd like it to just be open almost 24 hours so that if you arrive at 3 o'clock in the morning, as some students do when they arrive, you can go to the CSA and somebody is there. Whether that be somebody that's just in a cafe serving late night coffees or there's something. And the building is used more as a home away from home 24/7.
And that is an amazing vision, and it's a good thing to have in the back of our mind. Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll come back to this in 3 to 5 years and see if it's actually happened.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
If there's a time machine, they'll come back right now and tell us it's happened. All right. Talking a bit more about CSA and CSA events. What is your favourite CSA event, Lorraine?
Favourite CSA events? We've done some formal events which have been fabulous. However, I think the entire Freshers programme, a week of insanity, of constant activities and just the excitement in the new students, the willingness to engage. For me, it's brilliant. And luckily, because in part of my role, because we're part of a smaller team, I'm not just behind a desk. I get to come down and actually engage with the students as well. So it's lovely. It's a great opportunity for me to meet the new intake. They put a face to a name for myself. And just see them meeting people coming in that can be almost shy or uncertain, and then through the events, by the end of the week, they've found their little groups. They're beginning to engage, and that's amazing. Those events are genuinely they're the memories that people will leave university with. As much as you get a qualification, you will leave from the great events or the friends you've made, and we facilitate that.
And I think it's quite nice to see that the first week is actually buzzing in terms of events, in terms, like you said, in terms of just people being there at all times. We'll actually have to kick them out to be like, guys, you got to go home. You can't be here.
We need some sleep.
We need some sleep. Okay, the next one is about the CSA menu. What's your favorite item on our menu that you kind of really like?
See, this is difficult. But what I'd go for is the chips.
The chips,
I get the chips, and then I would, don't judge me on this, smother it in burger sauce.
I judge you now.
It's amazing. It's not officially on the menu, but if you kind of give them a wink at the cafe, they'll absolutely sort you out.
We'll call it the Lorraine Special.
It's lovely. Absolutely lovely.
If you weren't the general manager, which you are right now, but if you weren't the general manager, and if you were just a CSA student for 1 week, what would you get involved in?
I'd like to think I'd get involved with everything. I'd want to join a club or society. Because again, we've got everything from sports to
the most nerdiest club there is,
to chess to Toastmasters to everything. There is a group for everybody. And if there's not a group, you're able to start one. So I'd get involved. I'd be doing things, and also with the social scene, I think I'd want to be involved with that as well. Set something up. I love a good quiz. So do a quiz or something like that. I'd be involved in just everything, because ultimately your time away. It's the same with most things in life. It is what you make of it. The more you put in, the more you get back. And it's a great opportunity here at Cranfield, because we're almost in a bubble, because we're the location and everything, that if you put in the time to actually meet other people and to do things. You get so much back from it.
And that is amazing, and that's quite rewarding to hear. And that's what we see every year with students, isn't it? Final question. And before we go to the outro, and the outro is you showing us your favorite place at the CSA.
Okay.
But the final question is, it's a bit of a tinker actually, this one.
Okay.
Who in the CSA office is most likely to kind of survive a zombie apocalypse? I know it's tinker. It's
Okay.
tinker. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be. I would be out. I'd be the first person to be taken out.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's
I'm out.
I think I'd come back and save you. I'd save you.
Oh, thank you, Lorraine.
I think Becky. Becky's our
Becky?
finance manager.
Yes.
And I think, yeah,
She has the brains for it. I give you that. Yeah.
she's ridiculously intelligent, and I think she could be a bit of a silent ninja.
Okay.
I reckon she'd be able to hold her own.
Oh, do you reckon?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, my money would be on Becky.
Your money would be on
No
Becky.
offence to anybody else in the office.
No, I'm sure they
But
don't
you're
take
being
any.
turned into zombies.
We don't care about them now, do we? Yeah, no. Thank you, Lorraine. This has been, I think, very insightful in just seeing how our organization works. And I think it gives a good insight to students who are on campus, or even if they're coming new, to see what CSA is really all about. And I think this is very valuable. So thank you for your time.
No, no, pleasure.
And we'll cue the outro.
So my favourite place on campus, probably at the moment in the CSA, is the bar. We've just had it redone. So we've got our beautiful, beautiful neon signs over there. And if you come around and have a look, if you never saw it before, it's now done up in a nice way. We've got new chairs, new sofas, we've got all the televisions round on the sides, so it means we can show all the sports, and it's a nice place where students, staff members and visitors will all come and grab a coffee.